17. Better is a dry morsel, and quietness therewith, than a house full of sacrifices with strife. A wise servant shall have rule over a son that causeth shame, and shall have part of the inheritance among the brethren. The fining pot is for silver, and the furnace for gold, but the Lord trieth the hearts. A wicked doer giveth heed to false lips, and a liar giveth ear to a naughty tongue. Whoso mocketh the poor reproacheth his Maker, and he that is glad at calamities shall not be unpunished. Children's children are the crown of old men, and the glory of children are their fathers. Excellent speech becometh not a fool, much less do lying lips a prince. A gift is as a precious stone in the eyes of him that hath it. Whithersoever it turneth, it prospereth. He that covereth a transgression seeketh love, but he that repeateth a matter separateth very friends. A reproof entereth more into a wise man than 100 stripes into a fool. An evil man seeketh only rebellion, therefore a cruel messenger shall be sent against him. Let a bear robbed of her whelps meet a man, rather than a fool in his folly. Whoso rewardeth evil for good, evil shall not depart from his house. The beginning of strife is as when one letteth out water. Therefore leave off contention before it be meddled with. He that justifieth the wicked, and he that condemneth the just, even they both are an abomination to the Lord. Wherefore is there a price in the hand of a fool to get wisdom, seeing he hath no heart to it? A friend loveth at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. A man void of understanding striketh hands, and becometh surety in the presence of his friends. He loveth transgression that loveth strife, and he that exalteth his gate seeketh destruction. He that hath a froward heart findeth no good, and he that hath a perverse tongue falleth into mischief. He that begetteth a fool doth it to his sorrow, and the father of a fool hath no joy. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones. A wicked man taketh a gift out of the bosom to pervert the ways of judgment. Wisdom is before him that hath understanding, but the eyes of a fool are in the ends of the earth. A foolish son is a grief to his father, and bitterness to her that bare him. Also to punish the just is not good, nor to strike princes for equity. He that hath knowledge spareth his words, and a man of understanding is of an excellent spirit. Even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise, and he that shutteth his lips is esteemed a man of understanding. Verse 1. Better is a dry morsel, and quietness therewith, than a house full of sacrifices with strife. So here, basically, need to understand they would have bread, fresh made bread every day. And fresh made bread is, generally speaking, moist and delicious. Stale bread is dry. So what he's talking about here is better it is to have dry, stale bread with quietness than to have a house full of sacrifices. Now, what he's talking about there is the parts of the sacrifice, the peace offering, whatever, that came from the tabernacle or the temple, the part that was left over and divided, which was considered to be the best food there was, if you have strife in your home. So better off to have dry, stale bread and quietness than to have all the rich food and strife and hassle and problems in your home. Verse 3, the fining pot is for silver, and the furnace for gold, but the Lord trieth the heart. The fining pot would be the melting pot, the place where you would actually just melt the silver. And the furnace for gold, because gold tends to have a lot more impurities than silver does, in terms of when it's refined, and you want the gold to be as hot as possible, and that requires the heat of a furnace. And then when you pour it out into the mold, the heat of the gold will make it sink. The weight of the gold will make it sink, and all the impurities will tend to float to the top. But you have to get it really hot in order for that to happen. Make sure it's really, really, really liquid. It says, a wicked doer, in verse 4, giveth heed to false lips, and the liar giveth ear to a naughty tongue. People that are evil, or dumb, or dishonest, tend to follow other people who are. Verse 6, children's children are the crown of old men. Basically, the children of your children, your grandchildren, are the crown of old men. There's something to that. Having 8 grandchildren, I can say I really appreciate them, and the time and the visits and all, and able to do things with them. And they look at you differently than your own children do. And the glory of children are their fathers. Now that's something that isn't really very common, but a lot of times children, as they get older, tend to realize what their fathers have been through to get them to where they were. Usually when they're younger, they don't think that much about it, but as they have more experience, they tend to. And you think about your father more as you get older. I know I certainly did. Let's see. Verse 9, he that covereth the transgression seeketh love. What this means is when you know something about somebody else, you're seeking, by covering it, by not spreading the word about it, by not tattling about it, not spreading gossip about it, you're trying to keep that person's impression in the world as good as possible. But he that repeateth the matter separateth very friends. In other words, if you find out something that somebody did, and you can tell about it, what you can do is you can destroy a friendship. People tend to form opinions sometimes for very, very silly reasons, and sometimes because they hold a person in a certain esteem or certain view, and if that is shaken, then they don't want to have anything to do with that person again. And that, if you are the cause of that, then that is evil. And it's verse 12, let a bear robbed of whelps. In other words, let an angry female bear whose cubs have been taken meet a man, rather than have this man meet a fool who is doing foolish things. He's better off with the angry bear than he is with the fool. That's a thought. Whoso rewardeth evil for good, verse 13, evil shall not depart from his house. I've seen that happen lots of times. And then verse 15, he that justifieth the wicked and he that condemneth the just, even they both are an abomination to the Lord. The Lord, if you say that evil is good because you benefit from it, or even because you think, well, that's a perverse way of doing things, and you condemn the just people and say, well, they don't know what they're doing, or they're fools, or I don't want to have anything to do with them, or whatever, those things are an abomination to the Lord. You're supposed to praise the just, not condemn them. Now, wherefore is there a price in the hand? I see this all the time, and you probably do too. You see people who are willing to pay to get wisdom, but they don't have any heart to do anything if they are wise. They'll pay the money, but they won't use the wisdom. In verse 17, a friend loveth at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. If you have a true friend, that friend will love you no matter what.